Mixed marriage. This is a discussion about mixed marriage. Now, I know some of you think this has all been settled, etc., etc. And I know what some of the responses are going to be. But I'm going to give you my opinion on mixed marriage. As a father who has a daughter who expects one day that might be a concern. First off, let me say that I don't believe there is such a thing as a race. Anywhere you go, no matter how small the village, you will find diversity. It just won't be as much diversity. And truthfully speaking, even in Europe, you're going to find this kind of diversity, etc., etc. Now, there's another truth that I see as existing. There are distinct cultures. There's a German culture. There is a Somali culture, or a Chilean culture, or a Brazilian culture, or a Mexican, or a Cuban, or American, or a Texan, or a Canadian, or an Ottawan, and etc. There's cultures all around the world. Some of the difference might be, the further you get away from that culture geographically, the more dramatic the difference becomes. But typically, there are a lot of cultures. And you have a right, and every one of those cultures have reasons to be proud. European culture, German culture is no different. Now, I come from German lineage. I just happen, now here's the problem. People have connected race, or your skin color, or outward appearance, to what cultures you have access to. They're actually separate things. People assume, if you're black, you only have rights to cultures that are African. People assume, if you're white, you only have access to cultures that are European. And I can go on. Now, I'm going to use black and white mostly in this discussion because they're the extreme colorations of the human species. Now, when society sees you and when you interact with society, society directs what you can lay claim to. I can try to claim to be an African all I want. And I may even have some very legitimate claims to being of African heritage. But society will push me away from that. Society will say, no, you really aren't African because you don't look African. Likewise, there's blacks, black-skinned people, dark-skinned people, who have distinct, solid European heritages. But society, again, pushes them to accept their African heritage over that of their European heritage. Barack Obama is a perfect example of this. Now, why does mixed marriages bother me? It bothers me because the people who come out of the mixed marriage, not the parents, the mother and the father, but the children that come out of that relationship, genetically speaking, will be a mix of the two. Parents. They're going to be not as dark as the darkest one, not as light as the lightest one. They're going to be in the middle. And depending on where in the middle they are, society is going to tell them what cultures they fit into based upon their mere cosmetic appearance. It's not fair. It's not accurate. But that's what society does. Barack Obama himself admitted this. Now, why does this affect me? As a person of German heritage, I am proud of my grandparents, my great-grandparents, and all the family that comes down from Germany. But I'm also aware that I have links to other cultures too, like England, Scotland, probably some other ones. Now, having said that, with that pride comes a want and a desire to see my children be able to embrace that same culture and the same heritage that I have embraced. That I have, period. Not just merely embraced, but that I have. Now, if the child's obvious, if of the right coloration, that's not a problem. No one's going to argue about a white guy saying he's European or German. No one's going to make a second guess about that. But if the child is darker skinned, it's going to be a lot harder for them to make that connection. Now, having said that, so acknowledging that society will force you to accept the culture that you kind of look like you fit into, as opposed to what cultures you actually have claim to. What does this have to do with me as a parent? Past the age of 18, I really have no say in the matter. My daughter has the right to marry whomever she wishes to marry, or do whatever else she wants with her life. I will love her no matter what her choice is, and I will love my grandchildren no matter what they look like. Now, I do also, though, feel I should have the right to let them know how I feel. Now, is it possible for me to change my mind if the situation arises? I suspect I could be worked on. That's going to require a lot of understanding and patience on the role of my daughter and her husband. And it's going to require them to give me time and respect. And not this, you're going to take it whether you like it or not, and I'm going to shove it in your face and you're going to deal with it, type of thing. That does not actually instill respect. That makes me into a defensive position, and that's not a healthy thing. Now, no matter what, I will try to teach my grandkids about their German heritage and teach them to admire their heritage and respect it. And I would hope that the other grandparents do the same with their heritage. Why? Because that's part of what we are. Our ancestors, our family, is who we are, to a large degree. So there you have it. It's regrettable. I wish people didn't pick people's cultures based on their skin colorations or physical characteristics, but they do, and that's ultimately the reason why I have a problem with mixed marriages. Anyways, thank you very much. I just wanted to put that down in video, and I want to bid you adieu and good night and God bless.